Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Friday Live. My name is Ashley Hay. I'm a mixed media artist, and today I thought I'd share with you some of my art process. So that's what we're going to be having a chat about. And of course, the lovely Natalie Parrish from Bag End Studios was meant to be on with me this week, but she's going to pop on next week. So we'll have a chat with her next week and have a look at some of the gorgeous artwork she's been doing. So the art process. So something that I wanted to talk to you about was composition and design and finding inspiration for your artwork, because quite often we can feel stuck with where we're headed, where we're going. Some days it's like you just don't have any inspiration at all, and you just need a little bit of a starting point to get you started. So just an example of that is last night I went I've got gorgeous friends in Mandurah, and we hang out on a Thursday night, and we did some painting last night, and we actually painted a still life. Well, when I was presented with that still life, it was like, oh my goodness, look at those reflections, and I was so scared to actually get started. But as soon as I put my brush to the board, I was in it. I was totally absorbed. I was just looking at the form, the colour, and the composition and the design elements and putting them together. And it took all the fear. As soon as I started, all the fear was gone, and it just became about the painting and the immersion in the painting itself. So I've got a workshop coming up that I'm doing for the first time in my studio, which is very exciting. We're back to normal here, no masks and no 2 metre distancing rule that we've had for a little while with the COVID restrictions. But in the studio, it's back to business as usual, and I'm excited to be offering a new workshop called Layered Landscapes, and it is actually a series. Now, in this actual workshop, I'm going to be talking about my process and sharing the process with the people who attend, and that's what I'm going to do a little bit of today as well. But what I really want to get you thinking about is what is behind the artwork that you do, and because of course a lot of what I do is actually intuitive and expressive and emotive. So when I'm working in the studio, that's how I kind of roll. But because I'm presenting a new workshop and I'm looking at wanting to give people some concrete ideas, I went, well, what's my thinking behind what I do? So a lot of it comes from actually being immersed in the landscape, and it's those remembered emotions and those remembered feelings. So what I've done is I've pulled together a series of photographs, which you can see here on my art table. I've just got some sort of different textures. Now, the first theme in my workshop is actually River Run. Now, this, whilst it's a face-to-face workshop, it's actually also something that I'm potentially going to be offering as a online workshop as well. So you might like to let me know if it would be something that would interest you. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is composition and design ideas, and we're going to be looking at River Run, the theme of River Run. So if we take a look here, you can see some of the different layouts of photographs that I've actually just got happening. And what I've done is I've just put them into little circles, because the first design that I'm going to do with you guys is actually a circular design on styrofoam. So whilst I'm actually showing you different techniques and actually giving you starting points and inspirational ideas, I will be actually also having a concrete example for you to follow in the workshop. But the idea is that you take away and you actually run with developing your own artwork, your own creative voice in the month in between, because it's a series of 3 workshops instead of just a one-off workshop. And the idea is that you take the theme, you develop your own ideas through the month, bring your artwork back, and then I can give you a little bit of a critique, and then we go on to the next theme for the next month. So I'm very excited about it. And I hope that those of you who are in Perth will join me. And there are just a couple of spaces left. So if you'd like to join for that, I'll pop the link in the comments later so that you can find it. All right, let's get started. So as I say, I've just gathered some images. Now, one of the very lovely things that I love to do is painting on plein air outside. And so, of course, that immersion in the landscape where you're just sitting in the landscape, that's where a lot of my artwork comes from. I love to focus on the beauty of the world, and I like to draw people in to some of those feelings that I have when I'm sitting in nature. So that is what River Run is about. It's about the experience of being in nature, but the piece itself is a remembered piece. So it's done from memory. And interestingly, so this is the piece. Actually, I'll put it up on the screen so you can see. I'll get David, who's helping me here, to pop the banner up for the River Run so that you can actually see it nice and clearly. There it is there. Now, what is really interesting about this piece is I'm going to show you a lot of textural techniques to actually get these beautiful surfaces and layers. But what is interesting is this was totally from my memory, and look at this. So with this, how close is that to the composition of the River Run? So when I was looking through, I kind of went, oh my goodness, look at that. That was totally out of my head as a memory from flying over Australian landscapes and river systems, and that's what popped up. So very, very cool. So photo references can be very useful, as can paintings. So that's where painting on plein air, because I'm sitting in the environment, I'm doing observational drawing, I'm taking photos in the environment of all the things that inspire me. So I guess this is getting back to that whole visual diary that we're taught when we're in art school, you know, that collation of ideas and what it is that you draw from. So if we have a look here, I've just got the simple compositions, and I've got, so these are photos that I've just cut down and I've put them into circular compositions. My next step from there is then to actually draw them up as designs. So this is where we can actually take the composition and we just literally translate it. So if you're not used to doing this, a simple thing that you can do is you can also create a grid. So if I drew lines through the centre there and through the side there, and I actually create a grid on the photo, then I've got exactly the same layout for the drawing. I can actually draw the drawing into there so that it is the same composition. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for this, where this line intersects this space here. So it's around about there. It then comes through the middle here, swirls around here, comes over here and down here and finishes. Now, the really nice thing about this is that there's variation. So it's not all the same weight. So all the shapes are different sizes. And that's really important. You don't want this shape to be the same as this shape to be the same as this shape. So you can see that this one in the background is really reducing in size. So it's giving you a sense of that perspective, which is really, really nice. So I'll just hold that a bit closer up to camera so that, hang on, where am I? Here. So you can see that this one here in the background is a lot smaller. This mass here is bigger. You've got a little bit of your eye really moves through the composition, and it's actually an S-shaped composition. So if you're thinking in terms of types of compositions, you can see that the motion your eye takes as a viewer is that sort of S shape. It feels like there's distance in it because the shapes in the background are smaller. This feels like the focus here, and this is your entry point into the composition. So that's leading your eye in to this focal area in here, and then you come out here, but there's enough interest in here that you actually come back into the composition. So this is where actually using photographic references, you can actually analyze them, analyze your compositions, and then from there you then go, okay, you know, this is a photo of mine. This is a really nice composition because of these things. Now, things to avoid in your composition, you know, popping your piece right in the center there. So you don't want to have your focal point right in the middle. Like I've already said, you don't want to have, say, a piece there, a piece there, and a piece there. So they are all the same size. Not only that, the spacing is exactly the same. So what you want to do is you want to have that variation. You want to think about leading your eye into the space, and you want to think about where your horizon line is. So if we have a look at this one, it's quite interesting because for me it actually works. So this is a reflection. And this is something that I actually love painting as well. I've got some very dark compositions where I'm actually painting. But if we have a look here, that's actually breaking the rules. That horizon line is almost directly through the center. So if I wanted to, I could actually just lift that up a bit. So you do tend to read this as a bit of the horizon. So that's sort of coming in here and breaking up that top shape. Then you've got the symmetry, which is why I do love reflections, is because you get the reflection of what you draw on the top down lower, and there's ways of making that look reflective instead of like the real environment, and make it look slightly different. So these are all the sorts of things that I'm going to be talking about in the layered landscapes. So usually with my face-to-face workshops, it is usually you know, a one-off project. You walk in at the beginning of the day, you do the workshop, you learn the techniques, and you take your finished artwork home, which is awesome. You know, if that's what you want, then they are awesome workshops. It's a lot of fun. You just go step by step through the process. So this course is a little bit different. It is going to be a series of workshops where I say they'll be connected, there'll be more, I'll be really encouraging you to develop your own design ideas and composition. But in this first workshop, River Run, I'll be introducing you to the idea of collecting images and really pushing your compositions, analysing the little drawings that you do. So welcome to those of you who are here. So hey Robin, lovely to see you. Diane, lovely to see you too. And you know, great to have you watching. I appreciate all you guys that are watching, so welcome. Now remember, if you do have any questions, feel free to ask. So in terms of the workshop series, I'll just go back to that because it is a bit exciting. The first one is going to be based on River Run. That is starting the 15th of May. For those of you who are near me here in Safety Bay and can get along to the studio, I'd love to have you join me. And then the next one is actually going to be sultry seascapes, which will be on a 24-inch canvas, and we'll be looking at different techniques on how to create like a seascape using Powertex art supplies, which of course I love. And then the final one will be based on lyrical lakes, so the pink salt lakes of Australia, and those patterns on the landscape that you see when you fly into places like Karratha and over places like Lake Grace. And it's absolutely beautiful. There's some beautiful pink salt lakes here in WA. And of course, with the mining, you also get those amazing turquoise and copper colours as well. So there's some beautiful landscapes here. So that is what we're going to be focusing on. So if that sounds like something you would like to do, then please let me know, because I would love to know if you guys are interested in this as an online workshop, and I will actually develop it into an online workshop for you. So I am also currently in the position where I'm going, okay, what's next for my online workshops? So if you have any other ideas of things that you would like to see, then please drop me a line and let me know as well. So you can drop those ideas in the comments, anything that you would like to do. So if you are overseas, you aren't near my studio, there is an online course that I've done recently, and I do go into composition and design as well in the photo transfer and mixed media course. It is so much more than just photo transfers. It goes into how you come up with the ideas for actually extending your artwork, and I actually show the whole process from start to finish. So you can see here, this is one of the design ideas that's actually in the course, and so you can see how I've drawn it out, and I've actually put notes on the canvas as to some ideas that I can actually try with it. So I know many of you would have seen the finished artwork, and so this is how it actually begins. So that photo transfer and mixed media online course is so much more than, like I say, just how to do photo transfers. If you are interested in just doing photo transfers, I'm also popping up some new content onto the YouTube channel. So I have just put up beginning with Powertex, and we're also putting up what is PowerPrint, and we have also put up how to transfer photographs onto canvas very recently. So that was last week's YouTube one. So we're pretty much putting up a piece of free content almost every week, and I think we're going to be doing that on Tuesdays and releasing those at 10 o'clock and getting a bit more regular with those. So that is coming soon too. So I love to help you guys create. That is one of my passions, second only to creating things myself. I love to actually inspire you guys and help you guys as well. So I hope that you've enjoyed that. I hope that it's been helpful. I really, really, can't encourage you enough to get into some of this visual diary, collecting your images. Now, you might do it digitally. There's so many ways where you can collate images and ideas digitally. So Pinterest, of course, is a fantastic way for collecting images. Instagram is a great way for, you could almost treat Instagram. Carly LeSurf is a beautiful WA artist, absolutely stunning encaustic work. She's got an exhibition in the Eastern States at the moment in New South Wales. Her work is amazing. So if you haven't seen Carly LeSurf's work, I highly recommend you take a look at that, check it out. She has done some incredible encaustic landscapes of the Pilbara region in WA, and she's done this massive piece of 5 panels, which is just absolutely incredible. So recently, well, not so recently, but last year, probably around about, I think about September last year, we went down for the Great Southern Catch Up, and that Carly LaSurf organised that, and there were 10 of us artists down there painting the Stirling Ranges. And so that's going back to that immersion in the landscape, collecting drawings, collecting paintings, collecting photographs that then you can use more intuitively and expressively back in the studio. So thank you everyone for popping in with me today. And of course, next week we've got Natalie Parrish from Bag End Studios in Queensland joining us. And I'm always excited to talk to Natalie about her artwork, which is just gorgeous. And her gnome that she's going to share with us is a really quirky little guy. I'm sure it will make you all laugh. And that's what we could do with on a Friday, is a bit of art happiness, taking us into the weekend. Of course, this weekend in Australia, it is Mother's Day. So if you would like something for your mum and she's arty, you might like to get her the online photo transfer course, or a workshop that she can come to and join any of our trainers around Australia. I know some of them are doing Mother's Day shops. I know Carol Burley from Ladybug Creative Arts. She runs workshops in the Fremantle area in Perth. She is doing some lovely Mother's Day tags, and I think that's happening tomorrow. So check out what everyone's doing, and if you're interested in that link to Carol's workshop, then just let me know and I'll drop that in the comments, and I'm sure she'll be on at some stage watching the live. So have a fantastic creative weekend, everyone. Go out, take photos of the things that inspire you, paint and draw in the environment, and bring all those things back to the studio and start creating some beautiful textured artworks in the studio. So see you soon. Robin, be lovely to catch up with you very soon as well. I know haven't seen you for a little while, and be lovely to see you again. All right, everyone. Bye.